The power grid just died. Not a brownout, not a rolling blackout. Dead. Permanently. The transformer down the street is a melted lump of copper. The substation is dark. The entire city is dark. Your phone's at 12%. Your flashlight batteries are running low. Your backup power bank will last maybe another day if you're careful. And then what? You look at that drawer full of dead AA batteries, the collection of useless USB cables. Every bit of electrical convenience you've relied on is now a paperweight. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Batteries aren't modern technology. They're ancient. 2,000 years ancient. And the version sitting in a museum in Baghdad could outlast every Duracell in your house by centuries. It's called the Baghdad Battery. It was built somewhere between 200 BC and 200 AD, and it still works. Not kind of works. It produces measurable electrical current using materials you can scavenge from a junkyard and assemble in 20 minutes. No lithium, no rare earth metals, just copper, iron, vinegar, and the understanding that electricity isn't something you buy, it's something you make. Let me show you how people were generating power when Rome was still an empire, and why this forgotten technology might be the only thing keeping your devices running when everything else is trash. In 1936, a German archaeologist named Wilhelm Koenig was cataloging artifacts at the Baghdad Museum when he found something that didn't make sense. It was a clay jar about 5 inches tall. Inside was a copper cylinder, and inside that, an iron rod suspended in the middle by an asphalt seal, never touching the copper. It looked deliberate, engineered. Koenig had a science background, and he thought, that's a galvanic cell. That's a battery. The academic world lost its mind. Batteries were invented by Alessandro Volta in 1800. This jar was 2,000 years older. It couldn't be a battery. It had to be a scroll case, a storage container, anything but what it obviously looked like. So in 1940, an engineer named Willard Gray built an exact replica. He filled it with vinegar, a weak acid easily made in ancient times, and tested it. It worked. It produced about half a volt of measurable, usable current. Since then, replicas have been built dozens of times, by scientists, by hobbyists, by TV shows like Mythbusters. Every single one works. Some produce up to 2 volts. String a few together and you've got enough juice to power small LEDs or trickle charge a modern device. And here's the kicker. The materials don't degrade like modern batteries. A properly maintained Baghdad battery can sit for years, get refilled with fresh liquid, and start producing power again like nothing happened. Duracell wishes it could do that. So why does this work? A battery is just 2 different metals in an acidic or alkaline solution. That's it. The metals have different hungers for electrons. When they're both in the solution, the hungrier metal steals electrons from the less hungry one through the liquid. That flow of electrons is electricity. In the Baghdad battery, you've got copper and iron. Copper is greedier for electrons. Put them both in vinegar, which is acetic acid, and the copper starts pulling electrons from the iron. Connect a wire between them, and you've got current. The iron slowly corrodes, the acid gradually neutralizes, but while it's happening, you're generating power. It's the exact same principle as a modern AA battery, same physics. And here's what makes it perfect for a collapse. It's completely rebuildable with scrap. The copper doesn't have to be pure, the iron can be rusty nails, the electrolyte can be vinegar, lemon juice, salt water in a pinch. The container can be a glass jar, a plastic bottle, a piece of PVC pipe. You're not dependent on supply chains. You're dependent on your ability to find metal and acid, and both are everywhere. Let's get practical. You can build a working one using junk. You'll need a piece of copper, plumbing pipe, stripped wire, even old pennies if you sand them down. You'll need an iron rod, a nail, a bolt, anything steel. And you'll need a non-conductive container, like a glass jar. Finally, your electrolyte. White vinegar is easiest. Here's how you assemble it. Roll your copper into a cylinder or use a piece of pipe about 4 inches long. Insert your iron nail into the center. It absolutely cannot touch the copper anywhere or it will short circuit. Use a piece of cork or rubber to keep it centered. Place this whole assembly into your jar. Pour in the vinegar until the metals are submerged, leaving about ½ inch of air at the top. Now attach one wire to the copper and another to the iron. The copper is your positive terminal. The iron is your negative. Seal the top with some wax or hot glue to stop it from evaporating. Congratulations! You just built a battery older than Christianity. If you have a multimeter, you'll see it producing between ½ volt and a full volt. That doesn't sound like much, but here's the trick. You stack them. Wire multiple batteries in series, positive to negative, and the voltages add up. 5 of them gets you to about 5 volts. 10 gets you to 10 volts. Suddenly, you're in the range of USB charging. If you need more current instead of voltage, you wire them in parallel. All the positives together, all the negatives together. You can build arrays of these things, a whole battery bank from scrap copper and rusty nails. When the vinegar runs low, you top it off. When the nail corrodes away, you pull it out and replace it with another one. You've just turned garbage into renewable electricity. What can you actually do with this? You can power modern LED lights, which run on just 2 or 3 volts and draw almost no current. Light is life when the grid is down. You can power small transistor radios and emergency shortwave receivers indefinitely. You can trickle charge a phone. Yes, it's painfully slow compared to a wall outlet, but slow beats nothing. You could even power critical low-voltage medical equipment. The original use might have been for electroplating gold onto silver, a process that requires exactly this kind of low, steady voltage. And this brings us to the uncomfortable truth. Modern batteries are fragile. Lithium-ion batteries degrade over time, fail in the heat, and explode if punctured. They're built with rare materials from unstable countries. When they die, they're toxic trash. You can't rebuild them. The Baghdad Battery, however, fails gracefully. When the electrolyte evaporates, you add more. When the iron corrodes, you replace it. Every component is repairable. It's antifragile technology. It rewards knowledge and survives in conditions that would destroy a Tesla Powerwall. You're surrounded by the components right now, and you probably don't even know it. So think bigger. Imagine a whole bank of these. Use sections of PVC pipe as your containers. Cut them 4 to 6 inches long, cap one end. Drop in a copper pipe section and an iron rod. Fill with vinegar. Wire them together and stack them in a milk crate. You can fit 20 cells in a square foot. Wire them 10 in series, 2 in parallel. That's up to 10 volts at double the amperage. It's not a power wall, but it's enough to run critical systems indefinitely. The maintenance is simple. Check the vinegar weekly, swap the nails monthly. It's work, but it's the work that keeps the lights on when everyone else is in the dark. We'll probably never know for sure what the ancient Mesopotamians used them for. Maybe it was medicine. Maybe it was for religious rituals, creating miraculous lights or shocks that seemed divine. But here's what we do know. They built it. It worked. And it survived 2,000 years. That's more than you can say for the phone in your pocket. When everything fails, survival doesn't depend on hoarding batteries. It depends on understanding how they work. The Baghdad Battery proves that electricity isn't a modern miracle. It's ancient physics. Copper, iron, acid. That's all it takes. No factories, no supply chains. And when everyone else is fighting over the last pack of Duracells, you can be in your workshop, making power from scrap metal and vinegar, because you remembered what the ancients knew. Technology doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to work.